I am Jack from Make Me a DJ, and in this video we'll be writing some disco bass lines. So in this video I wanted to cover how to go about writing disco bass lines. I've got this track together just here, but as you can see the only thing that we're missing is a bass guitar really. So to get an electric guitar bass sort of sound, you're going to need a plugin that's going to help you do that. Now in this case I'm using a free pack from Ableton Live called Guitar and Bass. If you head over to the Ableton website, you'll find it in the pack section and you can just download it for free from there. You can also use third-party plugins such as Modo Bass or maybe even Trillion. Once you've grabbed this free one from Ableton, you can just locate this electric bass preset straight from the pack we downloaded. So minor scales are a good starting place for any dance music record out there. In this case, we're going to be using a minor pentatonic, which is the exact same as a minor, except the second and the sixth notes in the scale have been removed. This should give us a more authentic feel in terms of how a bass guitarist would play. And if we start to navigate down towards the lower octaves, say like in the 1 range, that should sit us in the right kind of ballpark for our bass. So I'm using G minor pentatonic here, and I'm going to navigate straight to our root note, which is G, and just start punching in a groove that's going to work around our kick drum, just to get a little bit of a feel going towards the record. At this stage, we're just looking to get something really simple. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start to punch in some additional notes. But what we're going to do is we're going to use these to bump up an octave. So if I select these two, hold shift and then press up on the keyboard, you can see they've now been bumped up an octave. And this should give us that kind of disco feel. This is quite kind of fundamental to these sort of disco bass lines. The jump up in octaves is what's going to give us the right kind of sound. So that jump up in octaves kind of replicates how a bass guitarist would play these sort of riffs. But what I want to do is I want to duplicate this loop, and then I want to split this second bar into 2 sections. So I want to maybe move the notes around for this first half and then maybe move them down for the second half. So using our scale as a guide, I'm just going to select these notes here. I'm going to lift those up to the next note in the scale. So that's sounding good, but the last part just not sounding right. So I'm going to come over to the second half of this bar and just nudge those down in the scale. So that's definitely giving us the right kind of feel there, but I'm looking to draw the focus back towards these octave notes, particularly the ones at the end of each bar. And what we're going to do is create some either ascending or descending notes, almost in a staircase motion towards the next note. So let's just have a little play around with those, and remember these don't actually have to be part of the scale either. Okay, I'm going to move this one down instead actually. That's better. I'll add another one in. I'll move that one down as well actually. And there we go. So every time the bass line moves up or down the scale, we've got these little staircase notes that lead us into the next section, into the next note. I'm just going to filter the kick and bass just to get a bit of a transition. So that's sounding quite good right now. We've got this kind of G minor pentatonic. We've created a little bit of a progression. We've added some octave notes in there, and we've also done a bit of a staircase motion. Now what I want to do is just take a look at the actual channel itself. I've got some little bits of processing on here. I've got an amp with the bass and the dry wet turned down, a little bit of saturation. I've sidechained it very gently to the kick, and I've added just a little bit of EQ as well. So let's have a go at creating a different pattern to give us some variation within the groove. Now I'm going to scroll down once again to our root note, which is G. I'm going to play something a little bit different. Maybe this time what I'll do is I'll just have an extended note in the middle. So I'll just drag that right out there and then fill out the groove with a few more notes as well. Okay, that sounded nice. Again, we're just going to add in some octaves. I'm going to duplicate the loop. I'm going to drag the second part, and again, we're just going to drop them down. I'm going to nudge the octaves over towards the end of each bar. I'm going to duplicate the loop again. And I'm going to create a different move up the scale this time. I'm going to drag the last bar and I'm going to drop those down. No, that doesn't quite sound right, so I'm going to come back up, see how that sounds. Yeah, that sounded much better, I think. So if you start thinking about this in terms of arrangement, maybe you could just loop the first bar of this just to create tension in certain points of your track. But we're going to do a bit more of a play on it now, and we're going to start to apply the staircase kind of motion that we spoke about before to this. So we're going to start dropping notes up and down. And remember, these don't actually have to be part of the scale. They're just used to lead us into the next section, really. So there you go, the staircase is kind of moving in a downward fashion, which leads us back into our next note, which is the root note of the scale. So as we come to the end of the bar, we're going to end up back at G, but we want to kind of lead down towards that part. Let's give it another quick play and flick through the two examples we've just made. Yeah, it's sounding good, but what does it sound like when we switch it up? So there you go, hopefully that helps. When it comes to composing disco style bass lines, like I said earlier on, Trillion and Modo Bass are quite good VSTs for this, but you can use any electric guitar bass plugin that you want to achieve this sort of sound. So I hope you've enjoyed this video today, and I'll see you again in the next one. So a big thanks for checking out our video, and if you're enjoying our content, please head over to our YouTube channel, drop us a subscribe as well, and if you hit that little bell icon, you'll get a notification every time we upload a new bit of content. Don't forget that we are a music school that's based in Manchester, and if you want to take your DJing or production skills to the next level, then feel free to book in with me via the website and I'll be happy to help. So just head on over to makemeadj.com and you'll be able to see all of the services that we currently have to offer. Thanks again for checking out the video, and I'll see you again in the next one. Take care.